instead of having the debates like we've had on and off for many years now, is there a problem in football? Well, we know there is. We've all talked about that. We've all agreed there is. And now it appears as though the political parties are prepared to agree with our analysis that there is an issue with debt, there's an issue with spending, and there's also an issue with how football clubs behave in respect to their supporters.
Football clubs are part of our culture and heritage, and part of the government's remit is to protect our culture and heritage. So I think, going back to points we were making before, I think they do have to have a role to play.
I welcome government regulation. There already is. Government is involved in employment law and in immigration law. There's Europe-wide special provisions for football. So you can't tell me that government regulation of football doesn't exist and it shouldn't exist in a wider framework. It needs to. It needs to desperately.
So we've got these proposals on the table. We've had responses from the other major parties. Begs the question, can football be an actual election issue?
Let's not pretend that football fans putting pressure on politicians and football being an election issue is a new thing. It's not. Shareholders United, the forerunner to Must, very successfully lobbied against the Murdoch takeover of United many years ago. Andy Burnham, the sports culture minister, he's very switched on to these ideas. Tony Lloyd, Central Manchester MP, has been vocally involved in the United protest movement. So politicians do recognise it. The question is it going to switch from something that's a parochial local issue, like Tony Lloyd's been involved in, to something that's going to be a national issue? If the parties all feel they need to put in a response for the upcoming election, that's great. Then we can talk about debt seriously, we can talk about financial regulation, we can talk about supporter ownership as being something that's really important. And when people go to the ballot boxes, they'll put the X against the name that they think will meet their needs and address their issues in the best way.
Now, if we do move towards a more inclusive ownership structure or a more regulated structure where fans have a say, do you trust fans to get the decisions right when people with business heads have been making the wrong ones for generations?
Well, I think you need a blend of loyalty and commitment to the club, but you also need to have business acumen as well. I mean, I think that's vital. I mean, with the Red Knights, they seem to have a bunch of heavy hitters in their collective, which sounds promising for Manchester United. That might not always be the case. Just having me or you, I'm not a businessman. As much as I love Chelsea, I can't run the club.
I don't think supporters need to be in that position. It's not about a plebiscite, and I don't think we need to have 150 clubs run like Ebbsfleet.
One of the best examples I've got is actually at Newport County. Been struggling in the mid-table in the Conference South for years, never really got above about 8th position. Every time they won a game, they'd be looking at how they could cut the wage budget again. The chairman had come in and they'd pull the rug from under them. Because they were also focused on players and wages, they didn't have proper training facilities. No one was taking that holistic look at it. The Supporters Trust came in as a major shareholder, came in, reorganised things, training ground, certainty of budget. They're now 3 points away from 100.
I don't think that fans will necessarily make great stewards of the club, and I do think there needs to be some structure. Even if by some miracle United managed to force out the Glazers with a successful bid and do it quickly enough that debt can be brought under control, I don't think anyone's proposing that we all sit around a table in a pub, discuss these issues and then come up with a solution.
So finally, I'd like to go around the table and imagine you were a politician and you were to make one football-related manifesto pledge in a sentence, maybe two, but no more, and not long sentences. It is. It's got to fit. It's got to fit on a pledge card.
One thing that concerns me is protecting the future football fan and encouraging kids and enabling them to go and becoming loyal fans rather than having a 40,000 seater stadium and having 40,000 season ticket holders. That makes no sense to me. I think there should be more kids coming through the turnstiles if that can be done on some kind of subsidised basis or some kind of sponsorship scheme. I think that guarantees the full stadia for generations to come, and you have a healthy groundswell of new football fans.
From a United fans' perspective, the most important thing is that fans have a say and an executive say at board level in terms of how our clubs run, and that can't happen clearly without a change of ownership. But as a pledge, the executive say has got to be it.
Supporter ownership and influence, really, at whatever level that is, whether that's 25% and one director or a whole club. But at some level we've got to have supporter ownership and influence.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.